Are there any sister institutions? We are now at all meetings of convocation held for the purpose of convocation.
Okay, Chancellor Agaba of the order, distinguished professor and chair, a former governor, deputy vice chancellor of the former registrars, the convocation lecturer, Dr. Samuel Ogbuku, the honor to read his citation of the convocation lab of NDDC, Chief Samuel Ogbuku, Mission NDDC of School, Oromen, 1987. He then proceeded to government secondary school. School certificate of education, being a law with a Bachelor of Science degree, in political science and administrative studies in the year post-education and administrative studies in the year post-education administrative studies, a master was a student which 2007 as in appointment. He is also and in the year to strengthen the commission and execute its mandate. It is acting positively on the environment, bridge, and beyond. Having excelled academically on state to deliver the convocation letter.
Chancellor, Highnesses and Chancellor, to stand in front of this great. This stands to be since a bactic nature of the administration. A lecture first. People who want me to present by these people defending my village. It's one of the fastest growing universities in Nigeria. Because I'm aware of when this university was created and coming into this university environment, which is actually my first time of coming deep into this university environment, of which this university has attained. I can say this is one of the fastest growing universities in Nigeria. Is growing rapidly to produce graduates into our. Now brings us to the topic of today's discussion. The top institutions topic is who said world Chancellor of this creative prowess who involves in planning the convocation lecture. My life and that is part to problem solve. Though I would prefer realize and that is part to problem solve. Though I would prefer the time and that is part to problem solve. Though I would prefer the term you enter main issues is time. So the first question is time. Mind above. We should equally contribute to show that the degree we carry beyond moving towards problem solving as distinct in a cool elite and university colleges like the university with a strong emphasis. Then came the oil boom years and the expansion of the public labor markets, like as I see, of 300 and private or entirely wrong. Interestingly, this is not Chancellor and Vice Chancellor. Ladies and gentlemen, research on society. What is my argument? When the internal logic of posture, accreditation, process, paperwork, number of staff, facilities, course files, peripheral collaborations, mostly on paper, collaborations, mostly on paper, and documentations. These things are important. Completeness of graduate. These things are important. Completeness of graduates' capacities. We are simply ticking boxes, not transforming lives. Between universities and productive sector of the economy. Employable experience of the economy. Employable experience. A post-graduation, most of them do not understand ties to the common based on computer. Ties to the common based on computer. So this tells you that most of our graduates in order enough, but competing outside back in their performance. This year we had back in their performance. This year we had with a beneficiary, you must also have Gen Z beneficiary, you must also have Gen Z barely on the slot, a graduated scenario of the poverty of funding and infrastructure in the innovative. When laboratories lack basic equipment, when libraries are outdated, when classrooms are overcrowded, and when is to default, it is cheaper experiment degrees. The problem, it is cheaper experiment degrees. The problem of degrees. The problem solving problems. The problem we solving problems. The problem we stop at theories. Theory is like a map. If you have a map and never use it to move, you are not traveling. Not in parallel lines to move, you are not traveling. Not in parallel lines, but in now we can change, for instance, that addresses another strategic step is to build cities. Some of incubation to becoming innovation hub business. Sit together oil and gas infrastructure are also part when laboratories oil and gas infrastructure are also part when laboratories are empty and workshops are locked. Strategic partnerships are locked. Strategic partnerships become very, very important. And monitoring board instead of to real doing primary goal. Job level 2 service. Imagine of award primary goal. Job level 2 service. Imagine of award service. Imagine of award best policy. What they know is safe. What they know is safe. The fact underemployment among our young people. Our universities should design programs, research, and partnerships improve productivity in sectors like agriculture. Did we help to create peace building problems from in the Delta. These propose and prevent cycle of violence. Whether for our region is environmental and climate-related problem. The Niger Delta knows this. More than most loss today. that cry out for solution employment, how intelligent our scientists create nations university education for sustainable nation building. Retooling sustainable nation building. Retooling means redefining. And did we curriculum means that curriculum should be today. You will see retool. This is perhaps why Rwanda has to retool than transdisciplinary scientists and in countries like Brazil, India, where tropical ag partnership and region private sectors, actors, local and state government, civil societies, and international partners. This clearly calls for an international partners. This clearly calls for a site-term partners to skip this one-year makeover. With clear our beloved Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor diagram, Pro-Chancellor diagram. However, to travel first, this university and oil spill remediation, youth livelihood teaching and curriculum, so that theory and practice are inseparable. Introducing compulsory service tied to real of policies. Must build strong partnership, form long-term MOUs with NDDC, NCDMB, Bayelsa State Government, and other agencies and development industry shelves. Incentives by Directorate for Community Rating Staff and Students' contribution to local solutions. And finally, it must track impact and formed startups incubated and strategic media out. Then, and only then, will this university redefine its identity from the nation. Changes. What was while we have insisted on, since institutions do not walk on their own, they walk on the legs of people. And today, the people whose legs that matters most in this hall are our graduates, our graduates. So the question is simple. What charges should you leave here with? First, you must leave here with a charge to see yourself. The degree in your hand is not a trophy. It is a tool. The society outside this auditorium is not waiting to clap for your CGPA. It is waiting to see what you can fix, what you can improve, trustworthy ones. Then university and in line to the corruption. Be the best cheat. Character of continuous learning faster than any do in 10 years' time do not even have names today. Do not treat your degree as the end of learning. Treat our tools, reading, and practice. Know everything now. But those who are willing to keep learning and unlearning. Whether you have a BSc, you must keep updating your knowledge. Even those who are into medical sciences or various professional courses, you find out that there are new training yourself. Out of Port Harcourt, the calendar, you could not. And what Professor Koko said, and if you don't also update yourself with what society is talking of, service to come away from responsibility, the environment, and the institution, mean volunteering for what is right today. Finally, dear graduates, I want you to leave here with the charge of being ambassadors, Federal University of Otuoke, through you. your work assistant advertisement men who can think, feel, and act for the common good. If you can hold on to these simple but demanding charges, to the problem solvers, people hopeful has been a ceremony. Let me end just as I begin. Education is most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, according to Nelson Mandela. Thank you very much.
Visitor, spiritual and temporal highnesses of our university, guests, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and pleasure to call upon our dear Vice Chancellor, Professor Teddy.
Final address, may I make a rendition?
Oh, my children, our great ambassadors, let us be ready, for in the nearest future, you will be great men of this nation. So we pray. Walk to become a great man. That is the struggle. Oh, my graduates, let us be ready to lay good foundation. The earlier the better. In the nearest future, you are.
Not now. Mother, a retired CSP and a barrister. The permission of the Chancellor. Tomorrow is our endowment lunch. Now we have Samuel Ogbuku.
The Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor rest on the well-established protocol. The guest lecturer, interventionist agency that has been remodeled to be performing under the present administration, taking development to the nook and cranny, are happy that they have their own, the NDDC. Standing in front of you, I believe it will also that talked about problem solving. I believe most of the students in this hall and also staff of this university are also asking, and I know many persons that are here. So in order to set the tone and also to encourage our young graduates who are also coming up in society, bigger than me in future, is just to set the tone to let you know that you also owe society that no matter where you are, you must also solve problems. And here that might also want to solve the problems here. Because in solving some of the problems, and not to leave us without solving some of the problems. I'm only just taking the lead, and you can solve that is personal with me. Yeah, but the endowment chair, one is cancer, one is my dad. Okay, yes, because you want to solve a problem easy. The first, I'll be sponsoring cancer, and the other, because when I say capacity, and we have also awarded the building of a very big pavilion that will be your convocation arena, quoting like this again, university. So those of you who have seen prototypes, so these are the problems that we want, as I also presented in my lecture, that we have to keep engaging ourselves. As we continue this engagement, I believe we'll solve more problems. This is not just one-off, we are willing to do more. Thank you very much.
The rendition by Mama Rose to our dear rewarded. I have seen the contract papers in respect of the Convocation Arena and Pavilion. I have seen already the papers in respect of the Corpus Lodge. I had the assurances that by next week, I'm sure we'll see the money that life plays on you. And so we are honored by the is coming. May I now request Chancellor come on stage to declare this occasion.
On that note, on behalf of us,
Can we university anthem? But before we do that, and formally.
Good day, everyone. Good day, everyone. I know this well-established protocol. I stand before you as the president, and the mother of the university, the president of all the
Of profession. Great Nigerian teachers, okay, sorry, Bayelsa of Otuoke, Bayelsa, and the this on this, okay, and the this on this, okay, sir. Today is not, okay, sir. Today is not the sacrifice today, ensuring that teachers are respected, recognized, and that teachers are respected, recognized, and ethics, advocate the policies that elevate the teaching profession, advocate the policies that elevate the teaching profession. Charges here as the key. Each and every in a style, in a grand style, half of the to the teaching profession. May your journey in a grand style, half of the to the teaching profession. May your journey practice rise to your faith to take your oath. You have the oath of allegiance with you. When I say I, you put your name, like my eye, faithful of 2000 to influence my official conduct. The moment me bar profession pertaining thereto, bar profession pertaining thereto. Congratulations, profession pertaining thereto. Congratulations. You have your certificate. A library gift. Please come up. Eco Tombra Prier Special. Ruben Blessing Peribuna. Congratulations.
And God of with peace and plenty. National, as well a reverse order. Ten.